Hello, my name is Frances Fox. Here we are again. This is my chat, sometimes put into a podcast called Frances Fox News from Other Dimensions. I'm a trained psychic. I was used as a psychic spy. I have a cute name that my followers. Wow, my necklace just fell off. And there's no, how can that be? I'm going to have to rewind this because this goes in here. How did it fall off? Was I fiddling with it that much? Whatever. Um, I'll go back and review the video and find out how that happened. Anyway, I'm here. I'm very bored. I'm under a voluntary house arrest in the sense that it's dangerous for me to live in Miami because the people that sex trafficked me, some of them are still alive, was decades ago. I'm sick of it. But I can see with what everything that has they're trying to do to pin down the whole sex trafficking situation is problematic. And I think that the reason they're not, this is just a thought that I have. I have too much time to think. I'm probably wrong. But the reason they're not letting the list come out of the Epstein list is because it's going to take down everybody. And that's a problem because you need continuity in society. And we're not going to have that once we find out everybody's dark side that has been really dark. Now, the Mayans talked about that in the Tortuguero prophecy, that at the end, our sub personalities would come up, our dark side and our shadow, and that people would be so upset at themselves, not at the other people, at themselves, they wouldn't be able to handle it. And that is what's going to cause the biggest chaos. The Mayans may have been right again, but we'll see when all of that comes out. I think I have to move from Miami. And I don't think, because I think this is like bigger than a bread box, obviously. But I've known this because I was sex trafficked when I was under 14. So this is a lot of years. Let's keep going. Um, I did the map of the United States, but it looks so great. And I thought, people are not going to come back to my chats. Everything looks so great. And yet, is it? The map is showing you what's in the other dimensions. Years ago, I don't do that anymore. I would see somebody and I would say, you're going to have cancer in 2 years if you don't do something. Do I have cancer? No, you don't have cancer now in your physical body for your doctor to find, but you're on your way. So, what I was seeing is at a level that is what's going to come up. And what I'm seeing for the United States looks really good, which makes it really boring if it's every day. So, I did Italy too. Let's do the United States first. Italy is not quite so. United States still has the Merkaba protection that's called the Talisman of David, and it is 6,000 years old as a symbol of protection. And the Jews took it on as a symbol for them 2,000 years ago. But it's not a Jewish symbol. It's a configuration in the other dimensions that affords stability, and because you're stable, you're protected. United States has several of these. So did Mexico and Venezuela. And then I didn't do any other countries. The map says tremendous progress in anchoring truth. And this is an era in which the truth shall set you free. The truth is your protection. So boring, great, but boring. So this is Italy. Now, let me say that yesterday when I was doing the chat, I picked up that there were certain people that were considering burning down the library in the Vatican. The Pope had just passed, and they didn't want the evidence of whatever And they didn't want people to know all that they have hidden from people. I mean, they were the ones who held back modern medicine and did not allow the scientists to study things that were not physical. Well, when I sketch this, I'm sketching what's not physical. It's not only totally valid, it's really what you want. It's what's coming down the pike at you. You can look terrible today, and then if I sketch something great, that's what's coming. We don't look so great today in terms of all the fighting in the United States. What's coming down the pike is protected, stable, having to do with the truth. So now let's go ahead and let me say that last night when I did the chat, I went into my chat in Spanish, and which was supposed to be about our kids, and I said, you know what? Nope. Let's go ahead and check the Vatican Library. There was no question. We ended up being like 350 people. There was no question that there's a lot of shenanigans going on and that they're wanting to hide stuff so that the public doesn't find out for some reason. I think we know why. We're in Revelations. They think that with this Pope passing, they're not going to have any more protection. People are going to find out and they're going to be up a creek without a paddle. So we went ahead and did protections. We're doing imaging. We did mantras. But there was a lot, what they could see, the 350 people, not all of them, but the ones that are able to see already, they could see tunnels and artwork and gold things being taken out, certain books being stolen or removed from the library, and the thought of burning it so that whatever it is that they feel would be detrimental to the Vatican, the evidence will be gone. Basically, burning of the evidence. Now, when I looked up, because somebody said, oh, that's what happened in Alexandria, the Library of Alexandria that was burnt. And what it did was it set us back in terms of knowledge tremendously. It set back civilization in terms of knowledge. I'm not sure that this would set us back because we were never allowed to see it. But then because the United States looked so good, I said, you know what? I'm not going to sit here with another thing like this and have people say, what is the matter with this lady? Doesn't she know what's going on? Yes. And I discuss what's going on. This is in the other dimensions, what's coming up. The story I said about the people when I say in 2 years you're going to have cancer, what I was seeing is at this level. And then after a few years, people would come back to me and say, you know what, you were right. And I had one person in particular, I'll never forget. I said to her, you are going to have a diagnosis of cancer on June. I gave her the exact date and year she would have the diagnosis of cancer. I did not see her after that for whatever reason. And she sent me an email a year later and she said, you know what? I was having some problems. And I had an appointment with my doctor. They called to give me an appointment to tell me what they found on the test, and it was exactly the date that you told me in June. So I canceled the appointment. I made another date. Anyway, she did end up having the problems that I suspected. But when I told her, she was like, where's she coming from? I could see it the same way I could see this. Okay, so let's get to Italy. Not so good. I sketch and then I get statements and I put them and then we try to figure them out. So it says no to everything, no to everything. What does that mean? I don't know. This is rage. This is Rome. Rome burning. In the Vatican, they hate the officials, the Italian officials. They hate them. Because the officials will not lie to cover the Vatican's secrets. This is good. This is good. Too many secrets to keep. Lies, lies, lies. So Italy is looking like this, not like this. But if the Vaticans will not lie to cover, if the officials in Italy won't lie to cover Vatican secrets, that means they're aligning with truth, which means that eventually, unless some god-awful things happen, which they could, they will end up becoming stable. It is the lying that makes us vulnerable. And we have lived a lie in the United States. We love everybody and we give money to help all of these countries. Meanwhile, it's all a lie. The money wasn't going to the poor people in the countries. I mean, like everything was a lie. But I kind of knew that because I was in the back watching the lies. And then, of course, when I started to talk about it, everybody thought that I became persona non grata. Nobody wanted to hear the truth. Like in the family, when a kid says, hey, there's this going on, and the parents go, no, it's not. And it is going on, but the parents don't want to see it. By the way, I got outcast basically. I ended up being outcast from every group, from my family. No, that's why are you so negative, Francis? Maybe because I wanted to try to help avoid what's going on now. Anyway, catastrophic loss of knowledge was when they burned down the library at Alexandria. And it also had to do with fighting, with war energies. Gossip, I still see Adam Schiff. He'll be like far away from me looking at me. Sometimes he's laughing at me. Um, so his astral spirit is still operational, but he's always laughing. He has that smile on his face that's really sickening. And my handler, I don't see, but he's a lot more savvy. But he is supposedly loose. He was in jail and they let him out. By the way, Miami, the bad guys in Miami, which are the ones that I'm trying to stay away from, feel that all they have to do is lay low and they can get back to business as usual. They weren't feeling that 2 weeks ago. Something shifted last week to where the bad guys in Miami, the Cuban mafia, okay, are now in control again. Now, coincidentally, my handle got let out last week. So, Trump, I think, because Miami is going to be kind of identified as the center of a lot of ugly things that happened in this country, I think that you need to read the Riot Act again and you need to not allow anybody that could possibly have been caught up in the Cuban mafia, which basically would be all the officials, all the police, everybody. I think you need to put them out because I can hear people's conversations. And what they're saying is we just have to lay low and then we'll be able to get back to it'll pass. 2 weeks ago they were not saying that. What happened, Trump? Why is Miami no longer afraid of revelations? What does that mean for me? Business as usual means that I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to tell you what I overhear them saying because it's embarrassing and humiliating. But can this please be taken care of? Miami is very important for the history of the United States. Miami is the city is astrologically Scorpio, and Scorpio is about karma, and Scorpio is about beating you up because you have karma you're not dealing with. You have stuff you need to take care of. So a Scorpio will come around, beat you up, do terrible things, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, what an animal! Look what he did." That's what Miami is doing to politics in the United States, beating up this country so that the stuff can get revealed and we can get back on track. Now, in terms of the highest level of spirituality and metaphysics, that means that Miami is a very evolved city, that it is willing to behave poorly in order to for the truth to come up. But you want to know something? I don't want to go through this. So can you please take care of this? The people that are watching me, I can hear them. They speak Spanish. Why am I having people like that supposedly taking care of me? So, not a good thing. Not a good thing. Um, I don't really have anything else to talk about. I have been doing some workshop. They're not workshops, they're classes, and I am the one that it actually is healings. And I tell people what I find, and it's different parts of the body, different organs. Today we did the pancreas. Very interesting. The interference from galactic spirits. We don't even believe in we don't even believe in the spirits of the people that we love that died. And we all know that they have a spirit, but we don't really incorporate that. Can you imagine trying to get people to understand that from out off planet there are galactic spirits that do black magic on us? Anyway, I did the pancreas. It was very interesting, and I'm considering opening up to do English. You don't really have to speak the language. I can just do the healing and you get the benefit. But I like to explain things to people. I'm an information expert, and I like information. I like to know why, and I think people should know why. But they don't need to know why to have the healing. So I'm going to remind you again, we are in the age of transformation. Transformation can be ugly. This country is going through a lot of ugliness, lots of ugliness. But that is the only thing, the only way you can get to the transformation. When the transformation has to take care of things that we should have taken care of before, but we didn't. That's at a national level, planetary level, and also at a personal level. So if you have somebody that's behaving like really ugly, um, you might want to just step back a little bit and allow them the space to be ugly, to not be following the rules of the game, to be coloring outside the lines, to being saying stuff that it's probably the truth, but it could be very destructive. Allow people the space. We can't do that with countries. You know, we have to continue forward, and you certainly can't do that at work or in a company. You could lose it. But I want to remind you again, the Mayans said the darkness will get revealed. It's not that there's more darkness, it's going to get revealed. And the whole Epstein thing, we're talking decades. I was sex trafficked in the 60s. That's a lot of years ago. This is not new. This didn't start with Epstein. And if we get into the Catholic Church thing, we can talk hundreds of years. Strange noises. It's okay. By the way, when in the mind control program that I was in, which was the start of the mind control program that's in the United States, it's a continuation of a Nazi program. They used a lot of German shepherds to frighten us. We were children. And what I see now is 10 or 15 minutes before my chats, I can hear very large dogs barking. Well, that could be a coincidence because I never heard it before. And this is not a neighborhood where they have German shepherds. Everybody has designer dogs. And they're gorgeous. Those Labradoodles, they are gorgeous. And they're so sweet. Occasionally I have seen a German Shepherd. And I've lived in this neighborhood before. I actually lived in the neighborhood for 15 years. Basically, there were really no German Shepherds. It's not the kind of dog that people have in Coconut Grove. But the dogs that I'm hearing sound like German Shepherds. So they're trying to frighten me right before the chat. And I'm assuming that I have deprogrammed that, but I'm not 100% sure. So just another little tidbit. I don't really have a lot to say now. My note here says the Miami Cuban Mafia are puffing their chest again. They're all puffy. They think they're going to get away with this. So let's go ahead and do a mantra, and I will give you a healing. Let me tell you that today in the chat, where I always go in and check the heart chakra, there are larvae, there are parasites in the heart. There were none in March. And I dealt with hundreds of people. And starting 2 weeks ago, there were a couple in the heart, and now it's like full. So remember to use our Mantrista music video that's 10 hours long. The title is Parasite Spirits. It's on both my English and my Spanish YouTube channel, and have it on 10 hours a day. We are definitely at the end of end times. A lot of weird stuff is going to happen. As I read to you what that nurse said from another country, that there were a lot of young people dying from heart conditions. But the interesting thing is that the hospital employees are not allowed to talk about it. So, what does that mean? I have no idea. I have no idea. Let's go ahead and do, let's do the fear mantra. So, the fear mantra is, this is the mantra, and I'm going to do the music. Let's do the subconscious. Let's do this. Is this it? Let's see. Remember now, auto analysis from 1 to 10. 1, you feel lousy. 10, you feel great. Where are you at now? Look at the white dress. Is it bright gold and white? Is it dull? Is it blue and brown, which some people see it as? And then afterwards, you do the same thing. Okay, so let's do 5 minutes. How do you feel? And how's the dress looking? Interesting. Looks totally different on one side than the other, almost like I'm split, which is possible. Hmm. But a lot of pink. Okay, so as we can see from the two maps, the United States looks great, going through living hell on the physical dimension today. In terms of future, looks great. Italy, a mess, but the Pope did die, and there's not a jockeying for position in Italy. The officials are saying they're not going to lie, and the people at the Vatican want them to lie. But people, I think the people at the Vatican know their time is up, because when I picked up yesterday that some of them were considering burning the library to burn evidence. Uh, on my chat afterwards, 350 people, they validated that, and they saw that there's already a lot of stealing of paintings and of art objects, gold, and certain books are being removed from the library. So I don't know if the officials should get in there and protect that. And I said yesterday, it doesn't feel like it's necessary today. Yesterday, it did feel that way. I was saying to the officials via my chat, obviously, that they needed to make sure that their fire stations that were around the Vatican be totally ready. But I think there's no, what the Vatican officials want, they're not going to get from the Italian government, which is a good thing. We're in Revelations. Thank you for joining me, and we will see you again.